today I'm going to save seeds for tomatillos. So first thing you need is some ripe tomatillos. These ones have burst the husks or have filled out the husks and dried off the vine. I picked 3 mature ones today. Tomatillos have an outrageous amount of seeds, so you don't need a whole lot of tomatillos to save a large portion of seeds. I learned to save tomatillo seeds from this book, Seed to Seed. And on page 161, you'll find Tomatillo's Mexican Husk Tomatoes. All right, so the description of how to save the seeds is actually on page 160. It indicates that you need a blender. So we've got our blender cup. And the reason you use a blender is that you're actually not going to ferment the seeds like you would for tomatoes. You're going to blend the tomatillos in the blender and then add enough water to double the mixture, stirring, allowing the seeds to settle to the bottom, and then you can pour off the debris. And you're going to keep rinsing the seeds until you just have the seeds left. Lay them out on a paper towel or my preference is a coffee filter to dry, and then store them in, your container of choice, which I do have some paper seed packets, or I use paper bags. So let's get started. So I have our blender cup. I'm just gonna take the husk off the tomatillo because this is one more type of debris that we do not need in there to filter out. I'm sure it would come out just fine, but it's easy enough to take the husk off. Tomatillos come in a wide range of colors. You can have yellow ones, green ones, purple ones. All of them, you can save the seeds as long as they've filled out the husk. You're going to have some mature seeds. So let's get to blending. Yes, this is my Ninja blender. Same one we used for smoothies. It works. The seeds are so tiny in tomatillos, and this is what allows you to blend them. It's not going to damage the seed because the seed isn't large enough to kind of be caught by the blades. Okay, we've got a nice smooth mixture, and we just need to strain this to save the seeds. So I'm going just to use cool water. Kind of slosh that around and let it settle for a minute. And try not to throw frying pans around the kitchen. As we're letting it settle, we're seeing the seeds collect at the bottom of the blender cup. I still have a few floating at the top. I know from saving tomato seeds, any of the floating seeds are going to be not mature, and that's okay to just go ahead and discard them. So we're just going to start pouring off that mixture. And we have a nice collection of seeds here at the blender cup. There's still some debris in there or tomatillo pulp, so I am going to go ahead and rinse this a few more times until the water is running clear. Certainly lots of viable seeds in there. They just sink right to the bottom. So this is very exciting. Make sure you label your coffee filter so you know what you have. And you do want to just spread these in an even layer so that they dry better. Don't want any mold or funguses growing while they're drying on. And just like that, we should have more than enough tomatillo seeds for next year. Catch you guys in the next one.